Some games are a good time that you never think about again. Others are destined to echo down the ages. They're embraced by hundreds of other developers, who then repurpose and riff on the best ideas. That's how the games industry moves forward. Chances are your favourite games today can trace their roots back to at least one of these 8 influential games. System Shock's premise was simple. You're on a space station and everybody's dead. The depth came from the audio logs, which were a new invention in 1994. These recorded diaries turned rooms filled with mutants into spaces that felt real.
We're finished. Heath and the others went down the access corridor an hour ago to fight the mutants. None of them have come back. Soon the mutants will come for the rest of us.
People had lived on the Citadel station. Lived, worked, and died. Their stories flooded the air, an approach that later fueled BioShock and Fallout 76. Though it might look clumsy now, System Shock was a cutting-edge simulation. It was designed to let you solve your problems creatively and to envelop you in its world and atmosphere. Without it, there would be no Dead Space, Deus Ex or Dishonored. And that's not a world we want to live in.
You have entered my domain. Rebecca and Morris cannot help you here. No one can.
System Shock's developers were trying to recreate the holodeck from Star Trek, but at the same time, id Software were putting together something more slick and streamlined. You controlled a camera glued to a gun, and then you steered it around levels built for fast and furious thrills. Every weapon had a specific and satisfying purpose. Take the chain gun, used to interrupt the fireballs of the Cackle Demon, or the chainsaw, which tore up dreaded pinkies with ease. It felt both speedy and tactical, especially in multiplayer deathmatches, which didn't exist before Doom. FPS developers have been chasing its high ever since. The setting of Doom was inspired by Dungeons & Dragons, and by the end of the 90s, the tabletop RPG had changed the face of video games again. With Baldur's Gate 2, BioWare combined the deep characters of Final Fantasy VII with the moral dilemmas of D&D. As you travelled through the Forgotten Realms, your companions would comment on your actions and pitch their own solutions to problems.
Minsk will be free! These bonds will not hold my wrath! Butts will be liberally kicked in good measure!
Some would even turn against you and take their expensive equipment with them. That dynamic defined later BioWare games like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. And to state the obvious, it led us to Baldur's Gate 3. Astarion complains because this game taught him how.
Gods! Do you have any idea how much that hurt?
And to ensure you'll be hearing his moaning with unprecedented clarity, then check out our Astro A50Xs with Pro G graphing audio drivers that promise the highest levels of wireless audio performance. Gordon Freeman might be famously mute, but Half-Life had some of the first speaking characters in video games. For the sequel, Valve raised the bar. NPCs like Alex and Barney became human beings, with feelings you could see play out across their faces. At last you could invest in the characters around you, joining a rat-tag family determined to save the world from the Combine. Half-Life 2's storytelling was subtle and emotive, marking the beginning of prestige gaming. Eventually, we got Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite and Ellie in The Last of Us. What's more, Half-Life 2 took up the mantle of System Shock, pushing physics simulation further than ever before. Nothing pushes like a gravity gun.
When I told you Dog liked to play fetch, I didn't tell you who'd be fetching, did I?
Today, Minecraft is a platform for basically anything you can think of, from school resources to perfect recreations of Helm's Deep. But at its core, there's a brilliant survival game about chopping down trees and baking bread in the wilderness. Digging down to the bedrock of one of its procedural worlds was overwhelming. Your only anchor point, a makeshift hut you might find again if you're lucky. As a result, an entire generation fell in love with getting lost. Dozens of Steam phenomena have Minecraft to thank for making the survival genre a big deal. And that's before you consider all the games that now lean on procedural generation to create the sense of a vast universe. Hello, Starfield. If Minecraft made exploration inviting, Dark Souls did the opposite. In the decade prior to its release, game developers had softened the edges of action games to make them friendlier. So it was a refreshing shock to boot up From Software's dark fantasy and be smacked in the face with its difficulty. Dark Souls refused to give you even an inch of progress you hadn't earned, which meant that getting to grips with its boss battles and twisting level design became one of the most satisfying achievements in games. Other studios have copied its mournful atmosphere and brutal parry windows ever since. The roguelike was already alive and well in 2017, punting millions of players back to the beginning and asking them to get good. Slay the Spire's stroke of genius was to blend the genre with deck building. Every time you were defeated, you were given a new opportunity to combine cards and relics in different ways. Each time you were kicked back down to the tower, you learned something new about this endlessly deep and tactical game. The market had been floored with Spire likes as a consequence. Not all of them use cards, but all take something from Slay the Spire's engrossing fusion of turn-based tactics and permadeath. It's like peanut butter and jelly. If PB&J made you feel like a genius. This year, Ubisoft revealed that the next Assassin's Creed will feature 2 protagonists you can switch between at will. It's just another reminder of the long and powerful impact of GTA 5, which offered us 3 protagonists way back in 2013. The stories of Michael, Franklin and Trevor slotted seamlessly into a huge open world, and they reinforced performance capture as a crucial aspect of cinematic gaming. Since then, actors like Stephen Ogg have straddled 2 mediums, bringing gaming and Hollywood closer together. The staying power of Los Santos has enabled its multiplayer spin-off to become one of the most popular games on the planet. It was Rockstar who figured out the model for a continuous online world. We've been living with the live services ever since. Hopefully we've influenced you to try out an important classic or 2. And we've got plenty more recommendations where those came from. If you subscribe to Logitech G and hit the bell, you'll be notified whenever we upload a new video. Bye bye for now!